I love books. I love reading books. I have a huge, long list of books that I want to read. But who's got extra time to sit around reading? I've found that if I want to make progress on my reading list, I have to scratch and claw to carve out time to read every single day. Welcome to Park Notes. I'm Parker Settecase. I'm a graduate philosophy student, and this is a space where I help you study and think more deeply. In this video, I'll briefly recap the best method for developing a daily reading habit. Then I'll lay out the second best method, which some of you will like even more. And then I'll conclude by showing how you can use both methods together to accomplish your daily reading goals. So make sure you watch to the end so you can decide if one of these methods is best for you or if you should be using both methods to accomplish your daily reading goals. Let's jump right in. So I found that the best tool for developing a daily reading habit is to come up with a daily page number goal and to keep track of that goal in a book log or a daily page number log. And while this is the best method, it's not the only method. I would say a close second is keeping track of the amount of time that you spend reading every single day. If what really matters is developing a daily reading habit, then page numbers aren't everything. The number of books you read in a year isn't everything. What matters is that you are spending time in books every single day, continually learning, becoming a reader, staying a reader, becoming a lifelong learner. So keeping track of time is really simple. It's super easy. You can use one of these little kitchen timers. They're kind of annoying, so maybe if you do use them, you want to put it away from you so you don't hear the clicking, but not so far that you can't hear it go off. You can also use just the app on your phone and set an hour or 2 hours. Put your phone away, make sure the alarm is on so you can hear it. Go put it away, put it face down so you're not getting alerts. And then you know for the next hour, for the next 2 hours, I am reading. So if you want to use the second method for developing a daily reading habit, you're going to need to plan ahead. You're going to need to look at your week and say, when do I have time to read? You're going to need to come up with your daily reading goal and say, hey, maybe I want to read for 2 hours every day this week. Maybe I want to read for 1 hour or half an hour or 15 minutes. It doesn't matter the amount of time. Whatever amount of time you pick, you're still going to have to fight for that time. It's not going to come from nowhere. So you're going to need to have some foresight to look ahead and say, on Tuesday morning, I'll be able to read for an hour, but maybe Wednesday night, I'll have an extra hour where I can read. I need to fit it into my schedule. So what I like to do is use time blocking methods from Cal Newport. I love using his time blocking approach to mastering your day in your own time. Time blocking is super duper easy. This is how I do it. I use half-hour increments, and I will block out when I have time to do what. When I mess up one of my time blocks, I'll just move it over and create new blocks for the rest of the day. So here is 7/18/23, a Tuesday. I had to take my dog to the groomer, but then I had this nice hour to read. And I had to do a podcast, I had to have lunch, I had to do some other stuff, I had to do a bunch of emails and upload a podcast, but I gave myself this hour to read. If I didn't do that, all this other stuff is going to take over my whole life. So here's another day. Here's my time block schedule, and it's a full day. If I didn't set up a time to read, I wouldn't have done it. So here I set up from 8 to 10 to read, and it looks like I was having such a good time that I decided to read instead of doing cardio that day. So I had to make a new time block. But the key is not to follow my exact example, but to set up times for you to read. Here again, I was reading and I just ended up scratching that and I made more time for reading. I really love reading. You can see I usually start my day with some deep reading, and I usually start time blocking around 8 a.m., but oftentimes I'll wake up early and I'll read for another hour or two beforehand. Now, you don't have to read as much as me. I'm a graduate student in philosophy. I host a podcast where I have on leading thinkers in philosophy and theology, and I have to read their work before they come on. So I have to do a lot of reading. Maybe you don't have to do that much, but I will give myself an hour to 2 hours every single day to read, and that's like bare minimum. Some days I'm reading for 4 or 5 hours, but if I didn't plan that out, I'll never have time. I'll never find time. I'll always be stuck sending emails or Facebook messages or text or whatever. So the second best method for developing a daily reading habit is to set a daily time goal. So come up with a daily goal for how much you want to read. 1 hour, 2 hours, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you decide, commit to it and decide to do it every single day. Once you have your daily time goal and you look at your week and you plan out when you're actually going to achieve these goals, then in order to avoid distractions, I suggest setting a timer, either a kitchen timer like this, which is super duper analog, or if you can resist the temptation, you can set it on your phone. Let's say I want to read for 2 hours, you hit start, and then you don't look at this. You turn it down so you're not seeing the alerts, and you put it on a different table, you put it by the door, you put it in the kitchen, you put it somewhere where you can hear it. It's within earshot, but it's not going to distract you. Don't have your alerts on. Fight the urge to check your notifications. And that is the second best tool for developing a daily reading habit. So the best way and the second best way for developing daily reading habits are not at odds with each other. I use them both in order to accomplish my daily reading goals. I come up with my daily time reading goal, which is at least 2 hours. I have my daily page number goal, which is at least 50 pages every day. I use a time blocking system in order to tell myself when I'm going to accomplish my daily time goals. When am I going to actually spend the time reading? I use some sort of timer in order to give myself undistracted time to read, and then I try to accomplish my 50 pages every single day, and I write down how far I actually got. Now, I know myself pretty well. I've been doing this for a while. I know if I'm reading some deep philosophical treatise or tome, if I'm reading a philosophy paper, theology paper, something in cognitive science, I know it's going to take me a long time. If I use my 2 hours, I can probably get through 35 pages of annotated text. I will write all my marginalia and take notes. I really try to chew and digest the page. I can get through about 35 pages in 2 hours. Now that's short of 50 pages. So if I want to actually hit that daily 50-page goal, I'll maybe sprinkle in some fiction books before bed. Now this is to help me continue reading. This is for enjoyment. I'm taking very minimal notes in these. Maybe I'm just highlighting proverbs and gnomic statements from here in order to use in my other podcasts. But these are for enjoyment, and I can rip out a bunch of pages in these and make my daily page number goal later in the day. I'll also toss in some nonfiction like Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. These are books that, yeah, I'll take a couple notes in, but it's nothing like the deep, hard work of cognitive science, philosophy of mind, philosophy of religion, theology, stuff that I actually need to have down cold for my job, for my school, for my podcasts. So that's how I use both methods to keep up on my daily reading habit. So there you have it, folks. The first and second best methods for developing a daily reading habit. I use them both together. I think you probably should too. But I want to hear from you guys. Which method do you like better? Have you had any success developing a daily reading habit using either one of these methods before? And do you think that they work together nicely? Do you think you'll use one of these methods in the future? And let me know in the comments if you have other tips and tricks for cultivating a daily reading habit. Make sure you guys like this video, leave me a comment, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future study habits, tips, tricks, and deep philosophical ramblings. I'll see you guys next time.